Is your child suffering from a sore throat, fever, or poor appetite? Do they have blister-like eruptions on the tongue, inside the cheek, and on the skin? Visit your doctor or the nearest health center because he or she may be infected with hand, foot, and mouth disease. Even if you or your child is not affected, continue to practice your sanitation measures. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water. And also remember to clean and disinfect frequently touched surfaces such as bathroom counters, doorknobs, and tables. Hello and welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Adrian Atkinson. Today is World Habitat Day and World Teachers Day, so you know the show is packed with lots of good information just for you. So stick around.
Make diseases spread. Wash your hands with soap and water instead. Wash them regular or use a hand sanitizer. Make sure the germs them dead. Touching your eyes or your mouth or your nose. Wash your hands before you do things like those. After you use the bathroom before preparing food, come on, wash your hand them clean.
Good day, I'm Tamara McHale and this is your GIS News for Monday, October 5. Government has received $807.5 million in grant funding from the World Bank to implement its climate data and information management project. Through the agreement, which was signed on Friday, Jamaica will get technical assistance to improve the country's resilience to climate change. The country's hydrometeorological data collection and forecasting systems will also be upgraded. Finance Minister Dr. Peter Phillips explained its importance.
If we are to be able to prepare the projects to take advantage of the availability of resources within the Global Climate Fund, we're going to need adequate data to support these project preparation activities.
The Global Climate Fund is the world's biggest multilateral climate financing vehicle. It funds projects in various countries to help them adapt to extended changes in weather patterns, such as drought. The Ministries of Education and Health are reporting success in the overall handling of cases of the hand, foot and mouth disease in schools. Speaking at a joint press conference last Friday, officials said a number of proactive measures were being taken to ensure the safety and well-being of students and staff.
Affected children have been sent home until they are well again. Schools have been disinfected to prevent the transmission of the hand, foot and mouth virus. This is in addition to the normal sanitation activities in all schools. Some schools have been ordered closed because the number of cases exceeds 10% of the school population, as well as other factors identified by the public health authorities.
The health minister added that parish health departments were doing their investigations and taking follow-up actions in the affected schools.
The ministry has prepared and made available guidelines on managing HFMD to the schools through the Ministry of Education. We have made information available on our website and invite persons to visit moh.gov.jm to keep updated on this matter.
As of last Friday, 98 schools had reported cases of hand, foot and mouth disease. Most of the affected schools are in St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew and St. Thomas. The Jamaica Teaching Council JTC has developed a program tailored to improve the educational performance of boys. JTC's Chief Executive Officer Dr. Winsome Gordon says boys' performance is not as high as girls, and the recent National Education Inspectorate report highlighted that more creative learning techniques need to be adopted.
So we have developed with teachers a number of strategies to engage boys in the learning process. We are focusing a lot on their vocational areas and to interpret their mathematics, English language, social studies, into the needs, into the character of the technical vocational areas in which they're involved.
Dr. Gordon's comments come as Jamaica and other countries observe World Teachers Day under the theme, Empowering Teachers, Building Sustainable Societies. A church service to award outstanding teachers will be held on Sunday, October 11 at the Kingston Parish Church starting at 8 p.m. Jamaica, through the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, is coordinating relief efforts for the islands of the Bahamas in the aftermath of Hurricane Joaquin. ODPEM is taking on the lead role as one of the participating states of the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Agency, CDEMA, and the sub-regional focal point for the Northwestern Caribbean. Initial reports out of the Bahamas have revealed an immediate need for basic food supplies and water for residents dwelling in the affected sections of the island chain. The government of Jamaica, with the help of the British West Indian Guard ship, has dispatched 50 tons of supplies. Bedding and other comfort items have been made available as part of post-disaster efforts. And finally, Finance Minister Dr. Peter Phillips is in Peru participating in the annual meeting of the Board of Governors of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. While in Peru, Dr. Phillips will also participate in the 2015 Commonwealth Finance Ministers meeting from October 6 to 7. In addition, he will take part in the second Regional Caribbean Dialogue on Sustainable Development Goals. The Finance Minister is also scheduled to have high-level meetings with the Managing and Deputy Managing Directors of the IMF and senior officials from the U.S. Treasury Department. And discussions will take place with representatives from other multilateral and financial institutions. And that's it for GIS News today. I'm Tamar McHale. Thanks for watching.
It's important to store water during periods of drought. It's even more important to ensure that the water is safe. Boiling and treating your water with bleach are two of the best ways to purify water. If you choose the boiling method, allow the water to boil for 5 minutes, cover and let it cool. Store boiled water in a clean, airtight container and use something with a handle to take out the water when needed. If you use bleach to make your water safe for drinking, use 2 drops of bleach to a liter of water, 8 drops for a gallon, and ½ teaspoon of bleach for 5 gallons of water. Shake well and leave for half an hour before use. Water is essential to a healthy life, so ensure yours is clean and safe for consumption.
Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller welcomed several dignitaries to the island this past week. She also held crucial bilateral talks with her visitors. Watch the highlights next.
Reparations, funding for development projects, and £25 million for the construction of a prison. Discussion points as Prime Minister Simpson Miller hosted the UK Prime Minister. Japan-Jamaica relations strengthened as that country's Prime Minister paid an official visit. And Prime Minister Simpson Miller welcomed Princess Anne to the island. I'm Lorraine Mendez with Jamaica House Weekly. Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller held bilateral discussions with British Prime Minister David Cameron during a 2-day visit to the island last week. During those talks, the issue of reparations was raised.
Jamaica is involved in a process under the auspices of the Caribbean community to engage the UK on the matter. While we are aware of the obvious sensitivities involved,
during the visit, Mr. Cameron announced that Jamaica would benefit from £360 million in development assistance to the Caribbean. £30 million of the amount would attract investments to the region, and another £30 million would help Caribbean hospitals become more resilient to natural disasters. The bulk of the money, £300 million, represents cash grants to fund infrastructure projects across the region. It was also revealed that the British government would be giving £25 million towards the building of a maximum security prison on the island. The money is part of a non-binding memorandum of understanding between the Jamaican and British governments.
the government of Japan's steadfast commitment to Jamaica was again demonstrated today.
Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller speaking at Jamaica House Wednesday following bilateral talks with Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Jamaica agreed to continue cooperation programs with Japan to include expanding the island's use of energy solutions.
We agreed on both sides that there is ample space for the expansion and the enhancement of our cooperation at all levels. We emphasize the importance of diversifying the trade and economic relationship between our countries, including an increase in exports of Jamaican products and services to Japan.
Cooperation projects such as disaster risk reduction were also discussed. And Jamaica and Japan signed a $57 million cultural grant agreement to boost the services of the Institute of Jamaica. An academic information exchange MOU was signed between the University of the West Indies and Sophia University in Japan. On Thursday, Prime Minister Simpson Miller welcomed Her Royal Highness, the Princess Royal, also known as Princess Anne. The Princess Royal was on the island for the Caribbean-Canada Emerging Leaders Dialogue, a program which helps emerging leaders develop their skills. At a reception dinner, Mrs. Simpson Miller urged 60 regional leaders to strive for innovation as the Caribbean seeks to become a global force.
As government, as businesses, and as civil society organizations, we must place urgent emphasis on fashioning at every level dynamic 21st century Caribbean leadership with the global perspective and confidence to completely tackle and overcome the challenges we face.
Prime Minister Simpson Miller also made time to welcome other visitors to Jamaica House this past week. She met with a South African delegation led by the country's Minister of International Relations and Cooperation. Prime Minister Simpson Miller also met with Canada's High Commissioner Designate to Jamaica. After a disruption in its opening hours, the Jamaica Archives and Records Department JARD resumed normal operational hours last Thursday. A release from the Office of the Prime Minister announced that the public could now access the office between 8:30 a.m. and 5 p.m. Mondays to Thursdays, and on Fridays, 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Opening hours had been adjusted while crews worked to repair a malfunctioning air conditioning unit. And Prime Minister Simpson Miller on Monday expressed profound sadness on the passing of former Senator and trade unionist Clive Dobson. She said the Jamaican trade union movement had lost a staunch and formidable advocate for the rights of the Jamaican worker. The Prime Minister also prayed for comfort for Dobson's wife and son. And that's how we close this week's edition of Jamaica House Weekly. Join us again next time for more important developments in the Office of the Prime Minister.
When teachers master their subject areas, they are better able to diversify their teaching styles to suit each student's needs. They are also an integral part of the instilling of good values and attitudes, which help to build and sustain productive societies with little or no poverty. As we salute our teachers on this World Teachers Day, we hear from the CEO of the Jamaica Teaching Council, Dr. Winsome Gordon, about why celebrating the day is so important.
Teacher, I wrote this song for you to thank you for every smile.
We are proud to join the rest of organizations and the rest of the world in celebrating teachers, recognizing their contribution to social and economic development. This year's theme is very interesting. It's empowering teachers, building sustainable societies. And when we talk about sustainable societies, we are actually talking about equitable societies and societies in which people can make their livelihoods and live in peace.
Touch me with your heart. Let you hold what I'm becoming in your hands.
This year, we are celebrating Teachers' Day by awarding trophies and certificates to excellent teachers in all of the 64 quality education circles. What we do is to present excellent teachers to their communities so that parents and other community stakeholders can recognize the work that they have done and can say to them, thank you.
Have disappeared into time.
If you recall the NEI report, it was generally agreed that teachers are not being as creative as the system needs. Our children have changed considerably from children long ago. They tend to be a little more distracted and a little more restless. So if teachers want to ensure meaningful learning, then their classes must be engaging. So what we have done, we have developed a program for the education of boys, because the boys are not performing as well as they ought to.
This song is for those who inspire us today, who always lend a helping hand to help show us the way.
We are calling upon all members of the public to join in celebrating World Teachers' Day. We need our teachers to be encouraged. They are working as doctors, nurses, correctional officers, surrogate parents. They go far beyond the call of duty. The society is essentially built up on the work of our teachers. They need to be celebrated.
This song is for those who heard the silent cries, who stepped in to wipe the tears from the children's eyes.
Family,
school,
church,
community,
all important agents of change in our society.
They influence what we think about ourselves, our surroundings, and how we see the roles of males and females.
Let's all work together for equality for all Jamaicans.
Let's make Jamaica a place where both males and females have equal access to a good education, good jobs, the best health care, and opportunities for the good of the country.
Males and females are different, but it doesn't mean they're not equal.
Let's build a Jamaica that doesn't discriminate. Become an agent of change.
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Have you had your breasts checked? Get more information from this next feature.
Breast cancer, the most common cancer among women. In fact, 25% of female cancer patients have breast cancer, making it one of the leading causes of cancer deaths among women of all races. According to radiologists, a mammogram is currently the most efficient screening method to detect this deadly disease. Dr. Derea Cornwall is a consultant radiologist at the University Hospital of the West Indies.
When we do screening mammograms, this is done on patients who have no symptoms or signs of any breast pathology at all. Mammogram can be done on women who have breast problems also. Like sometimes a woman may have a symptom of a breast lump or any other abnormality in the breast. And once they are above the age of 40, we will do a mammogram on them in the first instance to screen the rest of the breast to make sure there isn't any pathology in the rest of the breast away from the area that the patient has the symptom or the lump.
Dr. Cornwall says, however, that women over 40 should not sit and wait to feel something in their breast before getting screened.
You do not need a doctor request to do a mammogram. A woman can take it upon herself to get up, go to the X-ray facility, book the mammogram, go in and have it done. In Jamaica, we advise women to do their mammogram once per year.
But while yearly mammograms are not recommended for women in their 20s and 30s, there are women who have an increased risk of breast cancer. Certain factors may predispose some women to the disease. Factors like family history.
For example, if a woman has 2 first-degree relatives, for example, a sister, a daughter, a mother, a first-degree relative in that close circle who had been diagnosed with breast cancer before the age of 50, that woman should start doing her mammogram 10 years earlier than the age at which her relatives were diagnosed.
They should try to wear a 2-piece outfit to make it easier for the top to be removed when we're doing the mammogram, because the patient has to be naked from the neck down to the waist for us to get the breast properly. We ask them also not to put any powder or lotions on the breast, nor to use any deodorant that has a white residue, because it will simulate calcifications in the breast. No jewelry that is going to be hanging in the body part.
The results of your mammogram can be given to you either by the radiologist at the completion of the mammogram or the doctor who ordered the screening. They will tell you whether the mammogram is normal or not. If there is what's called a spot on your mammogram, that's considered abnormal. But don't panic.
An abnormal mammogram report does not necessarily mean that the patient has breast cancer. The mammogram is simply an X-ray of the breast. If there is any mass in the breast that is there at the time that the mammogram is done, or any lesion in the breast, then the mammogram will show it. Now, this can be something benign like a fibroadenoma. It can be something malignant like a cancer.
Although mammograms are recommended and effective, women shy away from doing one because the procedure is sometimes uncomfortable. Dr. Cornwell says the benefits far outweigh the discomfort.
I could tell you that the pain from a mammogram is much less than the pain from breast cancer when it is detected, especially if it is detected late. So we will encourage all women to do mammogram. Mammogram is the only imaging modality that can pick up cancer at the earliest possible stage.
For further information on breast cancer and mammograms, contact the nearest health center or the Jamaica Cancer Society, 16 Lady Musgrave Road, Kingston 5. Telephone 927-4265 or 927-3317.
Women are not alone with their fight against breast cancer. Men are also afflicted with the disease.
I think it was about 1974 or 75, so long ago now, I can't remember the date, when a lump was discovered in my right breast. Yes, men have breasts, although they're not developed. I went to the doctor and he prescribed surgery and I had my breast removed. It's not nearly as traumatic a process as it is, I understand, and would expect for a woman. And thank God since then, there's been no relapse or any sequelae. Men and women can help each other, particularly if they're in love, because they are quick to notice lumps, protrusions of one sort or another. And so there's nothing to be ashamed and there's nothing to be frightened. The real distress comes if you ignore the practice of observation, and if you observe that something is unusual. We are fortunate in Jamaica that there's ready medical attention for everyone. So I encourage everyone to be conscious of their bodies, not obsessed by them, conscious of them, and to always opt for good health and precautionary testing.
As we celebrate World Habitat Day under the theme Public Spaces for All, we take a look at government's work to build communities with the implementation of a national land titling program.
Land is the only source of the material life of the people. It provides food and shelter. It furnishes work and wealth. It is the basis of all production, of all development, of all security, of all growth. It is, in very truth, the root of our being.
Some very wise words from national hero Norman Washington Manley. And those words are still true. Land remains an important tool for human capital development.
You have a government that is committed to enabling our people to have ownership of the country of their birth and the land of their foreparents.
And the administration has been working through a series of programs to make this happen. The goal of building an ownership society has taken yet another step with the recent launch of the National Land Titling Program.
The launch of the National Land Titling Program gives a clear indication that this government means business when we say we are building an ownership society in Jamaica.
Under the program, some 45,000 land titles will be handed over to Jamaicans across the length and breadth of the island.
This program will bring together all the government agencies and stakeholders who are involved in the process of producing titles for land and homeowners across Jamaica.
The government agencies involved include the Ministry of Transport, Works and Housing, the Administrator General's Department, the National Land Agency, and the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries.
I'm also pleased that a coordinator has now been engaged to ensure the efficient and effective outcome of the program.
To facilitate the faster processing of land titles, government has also made changes to the Administrator General's Act. These measures follow other government programs for land ownership, which include a $90 million Development Bank of Jamaica grant to the LAMP program and the European Union Agriculture Ministry's Sugar Barracks relocation project.
Owning a piece of this rock will not only benefit you and your family, but will create a better community and ultimately a better Jamaica.
The National Land Titling Program has hit the ground running, issuing 63 certificates of possession at its recent launch. Beneficiaries came from Tower Hill, Seaward Pen, and Seaview Gardens in St. Andrew. Title holders now have the potential to boost their own economic and social development.
Let your registered title, let it work for you. We have placed the power in your hands to build your lives, build your communities, and by extension, to build our country.
And that's our show. I trust the information we shared on breast cancer, World Habitat Day, World Teachers Day, hand, foot and mouth disease, as well as Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller's engagements this past week were well received. The information continues online at gis.gov.jm, on Facebook, Twitter, and with the download of our mobile app from the Google Play Store. On behalf of the entire team here at the GIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson, thanking you for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.